The thing about seeking her validation is that in some ways she controls you. You lost your masculinity. She became the masculine polarity. And she actually doesn't want that, right? She wants to be the feminine. But because you're seeking her validation, she lost touch with her feminine because she can see that she can control you, right? You care more about her than she cares about you. That's what it means. And let me tell you this, a lot of men are dealing with seeking the validation of women. You're not alone, my brother. I was doing that, and so many other men are doing this. And the crazy thing about this is that when you seek women's validation, usually you don't realize it. It's happening subconsciously, right? You have certain behaviors, and I'm going to explain some of the behaviors so that you can actually recognize that about yourself. And when you act from these behaviors, you don't realize that you want her validation, right? It's like this feeling of like, I want her to like me. I care so much about her reaction, you know? So, how does it really look like? Let's take an example. You're texting with her, right? And you keep on checking your phone. You know, you send her a text and now you're checking your phone if she replied to you. That's a clear example that you're seeking her validation. Let's imagine now that you're on a date with her and you try to control your behavior in such a way so that she reacts positively to you. That's another form of seeking her validation, right? You might be lying about yourself. You might be using technical game like some routines, some push pull, some open loops to get her to be attracted to you, right? And this also shows again that you're seeking her validation, right? And if we look at the root cause of why men do this, it's actually super simple, right? It comes down to one very simple aspect of yourself. Deep down, you don't feel good enough in front of her, right? There is this feeling of like, I don't deserve her, right? It's a very strong feeling of, fuck, I need to do so much to attract her, right? I have to do this, I have to be this, because if I don't do this, I'm this little piece of shit. And that's how you see yourself, right? I'm this little piece of shit that she would never feel attracted to, right? And isn't it interesting that when we act this way, right? When we come from this place of like, I have to do so much, I have to be this cool guy, I have to be this, I have to be that, it turns her off in some ways, right? Because she can see that you care more about her than she cares about you. Yeah? And I'm going to repeat this very often in this video, you'll see, because it really comes down to that. You care more about her than she cares about you. She has control over you. You gave her the control. You lost your masculinity, and now she has to take the hat of the masculine. Imagine like how it feels like for a woman. It's your fault that she has to take the hat of the masculine. It's your fault. Yeah? So, what to do with this? Well, you have many strategies, right? Many strategies. And I know a lot of men are trying this strategy that is clearly not working. And maybe you're going to find yourself in this one, and I'm going to call you out right away. Maybe you think that if you meet more women, you're going to stop seeking her validation. Maybe you think that if you have more dates, right? If you have more dating opportunities, you're going to stop seeking her validation. Maybe you think that if you have a lot of sex, you're going to stop seeking her validation. Maybe you think if you attract a relationship, you're going to finally stop seeking women's validation. And I also thought that this would work, and I went deep into this rabbit hole of like creating a lot of dating opportunities with different kind of women. I traveled the world as a digital nomad, running my own business. I attracted relationships, and still I was seeking women's validation. Still, right? Still, I didn't feel good enough deep inside of me. Still, I needed women to like me. And every time a woman would pull away from me, would reject me, right? In some ways, like for example, a flake, or maybe I meet her in the club and she rejects me, or maybe in the bar she rejects me, or in the streets, and it would hurt a little bit, right? And if it hurts just a little bit, right? It doesn't have to hurt so much, but if it hurts, if it's irritating a little bit, it still means that you seek her validation, that deep down you don't feel good enough, right? So using this strategy, right, to rack up the numbers, approach so much, have so much dates, so much sex, is not going to work. It's just not going to work. And if you think it's going to work, go ahead and try, and then come back to this video to see what you should actually do to solve this internal issue. Because seeking women's validation is an internal issue, even though it looks like, well, you seek outside of yourself the woman's validation, of course, but it comes from not feeling good enough. And not feeling good enough is an internal issue, right? So if it's an internal issue, it means that you have to deal with it internally. You have to go inside of yourself through uh, psychological tools like shadow work, super cool tool to use. Maybe part work can be super useful. Attachment repairing as well can be super powerful. And these are the things that I teach in my academy, like very thoroughly, because when you go deep into these tools and actually use them to heal yourself, right, to start feeling worthy, naturally it start creating some impact, positive impact in your dating life. And this is exactly what I did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was still traveling the world. I was in Colombia, then I went to Ukraine, and, you know, changing country, like, the digital nomad lifestyle. It was fun. But I realized that I was still so addicted to women's validation, right? Even after all the results that I had. It was such a huge realization, right? And it led me to stop dating completely, right? I stopped texting a woman. I stopped using dating apps. I stopped going on dates. I stopped having sex. Like I cut that off completely, completely, right? And then what I did is I hired a mentor. I'm very thankful I did that. I hired a mentor and he really helped me see what was going on inside of me, right? So we started to go really deep into it using hypnosis, part work, shadow work, all these tools that I just told you about. And we went really deep into why was I feeling not good enough, right? And it's usually coming from childhood trauma, right? I'm not going to go into my childhood traumas here because I don't feel like it's, a place for me to be this vulnerable. I can be vulnerable, but not this level of vulnerability. But yeah, it was childhood traumas that led me to feel not good enough with women, right? A few experiences that happened in my life that basically led me to believe that I was not good enough for a beautiful woman, right? And then when we worked with this internal issue, right, we allowed this part of myself, right, to see things differently than not feeling good enough, right? Funny enough, um, everything changed, right? First of all, I didn't feel the need to have so many hookups like I used to have before. In fact, I didn't have this need to have sex like with benefits, friends with benefits. I just had this genuine desire to be in a long term relationship with a good woman, right? And funny enough, I attracted my partner right now. We've been together for a year, and it's a beautiful relationship. It has the ups and downs, of course, like life, but it's a relationship that is giving me so much, right? I'm very grateful to be in a relationship like that and have a woman that is nurturing my life, that is so soft, so compassionate. She really cares about me, and I believe all men should have this kind of woman in their life. And this is kind of the work that I'm doing here, like trying to help you see things differently so that you can attract your ideal woman into a long term relationship. And for me, deplugging from women's validation was a huge shift, huge shift. And I hope that this video is giving you a little bit of an insight, right? To see things differently. Maybe you don't have to meet all this woman to, deplug from her validation. Maybe you don't have to have all this sex, right? Maybe just diving internally into your emotions, your thoughts, your stories that you tell yourself. Maybe this can have a profound shift in your dating life, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support me, you can give me a like. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel. I will really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.